What's up, my know-it-alls? It is definitely that time again. It is Thursday morning, and that means Commodore on deck. That's right. I got the engineering gold on in honor of one of my favorite characters who has joined the show today, and it's exciting, so I'm not gonna wait, man. Let's get on into it. Now on the run, Picard and the skeleton crew of the U.S.S. Titan must break into Starfleet's most top-secret facility to expose a plot that could destroy the Federation. Picard must turn to the only soul in the galaxy who can help an old friend. That's right. We're talking about Commodore Geordi LaForge. Anyway, we'll get all, trust me, tons of stuff to get to in the entire thing, so let's go ahead and get into it. The episode starts with Vadic, who we already know that Vadic's a changeling. What we learn in that moment is they're definitely looking out for what's coming. Frontier Day is when this thing's gonna go down. And they have to find the ship, they have to find Jack. Jack is apparently very pivotal to whatever the plans are for Frontier Day that these offshoot changelings are after. So that's where we are right now. You cut to a moment where Beverly's talking to Jean-Luc, and you find out that Jack is suffering from Irumodic syndrome. The diagnosis of Irumodic syndrome isn't that difficult of a diagnosis to understand, especially because obviously that's what Picard had for years and years and years. And they even say that. She's like, well, he learns to live with it and whatnot, and how best to cope with it, or Picard did. And so he tries to talk a little bit to Jack about that, and there's sort of a moment. Jack's drinking on the holodeck. He's like, here, I thought I was just crazy, but turns out, no, I'm actually, you're as good as imparting genetics as you are wisdom. And you're like, bro, come on. Then Rafi and Worf show up. You do find out briefly that apparently Starfleet's trying to track the transponder signal, so what they're doing is they keep dropping fake transponder buoys, and all it's really doing is keeping them off your tail by maybe like a heartbeat or whatever. It is a wonderfully emotional scene, and Rafi's sort of uncomfortable. She sees Seven. Worf is greeted by everybody there. It's just a great moment to have Worf back in the fold in terms of being a really integral part of the story itself, not just offshoot B-play, but like right there in the middle of the whole thing. It's very exciting. And it all feels very Star Trek. And so that's the one thing I gotta say about this episode. This episode feels so sincerely Star Trek, it's kind of ridiculous. Rafi and Worf give a very detailed report of everything that they have gone through thus far. We have to make sure that Commander Laren's sacrifice was not in vain. And you're like, right on, bro. Absolutely. No, you absolutely have to. And so they have to go. They have to run. They have to go get to Daystrom, and there's a heist that has to happen. This is a heist. It became a heist episode. They have to go in, they have to steal the manifest, getting past whatever crazy AI exists there. And so they have the device, and Picard is like, okay, we're gonna do this thing. And they go and they drop them off real fast. So they arrive, beam them down, Starfleet shows up, and they gotta go. So Picard makes a decision, okay, y'all gotta go ahead and we'll be back. Because they have an hour, roughly, of time to get what they need to get. As Worf and Riker are talking, getting ready to get beamed down, you find out that Worf is a very pacifist, and Riker's just like, I don't understand this world anymore. I don't know what's going on. And at one point he beams down, and Worf's like, it's just very funny, because Riker's like, we're all gonna die. It's so great. You stop and go, okay. Anyways, this whole Daystrom visit is essentially a giant memberberry farm. I say memberberry farm because they got it all, Betty. I got a list here. As they hack the AI, it's a female voice who's like, he goes, greetings, please identify yourself, please identify yourself, please identify yourself. Then it gets me, and it's like, identify yourself now or else. And there's this glitchiness that happens, and when it glitches, briefly, you can hear Brent Spiner's voice. I'm not gonna say Data because in a minute you'll know why, but you hear Brent Spiner's voice for sure, as the voice itself, the computer voice. So, which immediately I was like, oh well, they must be using Data as the AI. Then Moriarty shows up. Now I'm guessing it was probably just for this moment, but you later on find out apparently, so Alton Sung, who built Picard's synthetic body, he, as his final act, wanted to, and apparently there's a set amount of time that's passed, I don't know, between Picard season 1 and all this. I have no idea how many years has passed. It can't be that many, because Picard would be like 100 years old. Anyway, because they actually list him as his age, his real life age in the show several times. So when Alton Sung, he tried to create a finished, a combined, he tried to combine all of Sung's work. He tried, it's a synthetic body he was going to put himself into, first off, hence why it looks, it's got an elder statesman-y wisdom is what the point of it is supposed to be. And so not only is he trying to put his own mind into it, he tried to combine parts of lore, before, lol, and data. Okay, so that's literally several different personalities. The thing that Alton could never do before he finally passed was reconcile all those personalities. So literally, you're stuck with Brent Spiner's essentially Jane from Doom Patrol. Okay, somebody with multiple personalities, all popping through at the time. Anyway, so that's the conclusion they've now come to, is that this android is the actual method by which they're going to be. That's the manifest. He's the manifest, period. So they managed to, so now we jump back. So that's what they found out. Now we jump back to following the rest of the crew, who the ship shows up they show up at the Starfleet Museum. This is literally Memberberry Town. So the Starfleet Museum is the old space dock. The old space dock, and they have rings where the other ships used to be, and they've parked a ton of them. And we get this wonderful slideshow where Seven is kind of clicking through and showing everybody stuff. But before you get to that, sure enough, they get hailed by the Fleet Museum, and it's Geordi, Commodore Geordi, no less, in a brand new uniform, which I have mine coming. I've ordered it. But yeah, man, it's super fun to see him, and you see him on screen. He's very serious, and you could tell there's a gravity and a weight, and he's just like, Jean-Luc, I don't know what you about this and that, and he shows up. They beam over. Him and his older daughter, also known as his younger daughter, who's the helmsman aboard the Titan, her sister and father, respectively. Okay, so the LaForges are brought together in this wonderful, wonderful combination of events. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. When you see Moriarty show up, it's because Data, or I'm going to keep calling him Data. Sorry, because I don't want to. There's no combined name yet, so we're just going to say Data for now. So the Brent Spiner Data person thing, when it saw Riker in them, it created Moriarty. Also, you saw a Raven fly through. It was all, because it's all hollow things, and it dawned on me, hologram security should have been a thing. They should have had literally emergency security holograms, like, what is it, ESH, I guess? They should have had ESHs forever. That's a smart move, man. Oh my gosh, computer generate hologram enemy and just go. And you give them whatever, give them the little thing, maybe put a little shield around it or whatever. It would be awesome to see hologram security people. Why has that not been a thing? Comment below, let me know what you think about that. I think it's a brilliant idea. Moriarty's awesome. Such pathetic old warriors. He's such a great, I love it. He's still pontificating, and it's wonderful. And I don't think that's actually the Moriarty that we all knew. I think it was generated from Data's memories. That's just my thought. As they're going through the place, you see a Genesis device? Seriously? You're telling me Daystrom's got all this dangerous crap? So there's a Genesis device in there. There's, what is it? There's genetically modified tribbles. Is not a thing my nightmares ever needed to see. But then then finally, now we get back to the scene I was talking about earlier, where you see Jack and Seven who are looking through the thing, and as they're going through, you see it's the New Jersey, which is essentially a Constitution class. Then you see, of course, the Constellation class Enterprise A, which is awesome to see that where its last parking spot was, if you will. I'm glad they've kept it and kept it all whatnot. And then you start seeing some other ships, and they show briefly Voyager. It's so much. And then you hear Seven talk about her time on Voyager, and then Jack's like, and that's what you're looking for now. You're looking for another family. And you realize that she really did connect for like amazingly with the people aboard the Voyager. And once that voyage was over, what's left? So yeah, it's very interesting to see that sort of moment. Then they find the Bounty. Heck yeah, man! The HMS Bounty, the Klingon ship with a cloaking device that Jack and Sydney take an opportunity to go borrow. Yeah, man, very cool. They install it on the Titan. That's when Geordi at this point, Geordi's had a conversation with Picard already in the ready room. They've already talked, and Geordi's essentially laid out, look, I was young and reckless just like all of us, and I would have absolutely done this back then. But I have a family now, and I got to take care of these girls. I got to make sure they're safe. And the thing is, I never feared dying. I never had anything to lose, but now I have everything to lose. And Picard has to respect that decision. Until Sydney helps Jack steal the cloaking device. At that point, it's literally man, I tell you what. Seeing Geordi, and at first he's like, Jean-Luc, he blames him, like he had something to do with it. And he's like, I so didn't. And even Geordi's like, Sydney. So yeah, there's a whole lot of like, it's good. It's really good. I enjoyed just seeing them all together again. Really, really. So they see the cloaking device isn't installed correctly. It's about to melt down, and Geordi walks in, and he's like, I know how to fix it. And he's going to help his daughter fix it. And then he looks over at Jack and he's like, stay away from my daughter. I was like, oh, dude, I love it. Anyway, Riker sacrifices himself to help get the others out. And they manage to transport out. And they have the cloaking device, by the way. So they managed to save. They pull out. They brought Data with them. And seeing Geordi see him. And then when he's all plugged in and Geordi looks so emotional. I got emotional. And I loved Picard season 1, okay? I was happy with Brent Spiner saying goodbye to the role of Data, and that's it, and you're never going to see it again, okay? This was a brilliant move. For them to make this new conglomeration, which will only allow for a lot of fun, and I think that's how you keep someone like Brent Spiner engaged. You keep him excited about playing multiple roles and being the character actor that he is at his core, and redesigning the character, reinventing the character to be synthetic and ultimately show age in the whole bit, and have a body like Picard's that's going to eventually age. That's smart, very smart. Now you've played into our weakness as humans, and we still can ultimately have this character be a thing if we want him to, assuming he doesn't die and everyone doesn't end by the end of the series. So, anyways, yeah, man, I'm excited to see more about that whole thing. And then you find out what they stole. They stole the remains of one Jean-Luc Picard. They stole his body. I don't know, and for some reason, there's something more nefarious about that than I think even I understand. I don't think that's how they got, like how you end up with Jack or anything like that, but it could very well be. There's speculation running wild, but there you go. Now you know, and if knowing's half the battle, you're halfway to being a know-it-all yourself. So what's my know-it-all rate index for this episode? I'm going to give this episode I enjoyed the heck out of it. I thought they did all kinds of really great things. I'm giving this episode a 9. This episode was firing on all thrusters for me. Between the member berries that didn't, though it's funny, it felt less like member berries and more like a victory lap. By that I mean, it felt like everything was showing off things, and it was like, here's Star Trek's history. It's funny, they were all saying on all the spoiler stuff all over the place, like, oh, don't look at any spoilers, this and that. This is the most Star Trek episode you'll ever see, and they're right. It is. So yeah, comment below. Let me know your thoughts. I'm loving everything that this series is doing. It's giving me all the emotional cues that I never knew I wanted. Did I enjoy Picard season 1? I did. Did I enjoy Picard season 2? It was fun, you know. I am genuinely loving and absolutely adoring Picard Season 3. And I feel like Picard Season 3 is kind of the show I thought I was going to get with the first season, but that's probably why they didn't do that. They wanted to be a little subversive, and I'm down. So anyways, all right, guys. Well, look, I'm super excited to talk more about this with you guys. Comment below. Let's have a discussion. What did you think of the episode? What did you think of Geordi? What did you think of just what did you think? And then, of course, how it all ends with Riker definitely being taken prisoner, and of course, how are you going to get him his compliance? Because he's like, after 30 years of loyalty, they have Deanna. Or do they? I don't know. Because with changelings are involved, it's hard to trust anybody anymore. So we'll see. But all right, guys. Well, I'd love to hear more about what you think. We'll talk very, very soon. Never forget, everyone loves a know-it-all.